Making headlines tonight. City businesses anxious to reopen after last week's volcanic ashfall. Local fisherfolk happy about the reopening of the markets. The cleanup has begun in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And coming up in sports, Bravo's Super Kings take over second spot after today's dominating performance in the IPL.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. After last week's ashfall, retail businesses were eager to resume operations with a clean slate. However, the ash continues to pose a challenge in some parts of the city. Aaliyah Briggs has that story.
During a week when retail businesses were anticipating an increase in sales due to the relaxing of COVID-19 restrictions, many were forced to pause as ash from the last Ufir volcanic eruption affected the island. For some businesses, this was a hard blow during already difficult times. Just over a week since the ordeal began, businesses are still coping with the fallout. Sasha Clark, a cashier at Paradise Beauty Supplies, says despite cleanup efforts, the ash is still affecting operations.
The ash has affected us because we had doors closed, and by the doors are closed, customers seem to think that we are closed for business as well. So revenue-wise, it has impacted us. When we do open the doors, however, there's a lot of traction of the dust within the store. So it would mean multiple times a day you have to cleaning, which interferes as well with the sales, because you expect salespersons to assist you on the floor.
Over the weekend, businesses across the island cleaned their properties in hopes of attracting customers. But owner of Madame of London, Samir Akari, believes the ash continues to deter shoppers from returning to Bridgetown.
A lot of cleanup was done. We tried to get the ash off of the ground with some garbage bags, and the rest we had to sweep it off and clean it off with some water. But it's really and truly affect the business in kind of way, like people don't want to leave home with this kind of dust, and a lot of people have things to maintain and do after this dust that we get out of the volcano.
Meanwhile, street vendors are hoping for some relief since the ash is being blown with the wind in some parts of the city.
The dust it haven't been clean as yet. Still need to get a little brush up, a little wet down still, because see it blowing all down here still, and I brush all around here. I ain't got hit down, but still blowing out.
Every 2 seconds, I gotta clean sheds, I gotta be wiping sheds. Even if I cover them down when I leave work, I still gotta clean them when I get back here. It's just awful.
The dust is tremendously troublesome because you have to be dusting all day. Well, today will be my 3rd day here since the ash because we didn't work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, nor Thursday. But every day you have to come, you have to wash down. You have to dust. You cannot put out everything, so you only put out like a small amount of stuff for now, just to try to accumulate sales.
As the streets of Bridgetown return to some semblance of normalcy, these business owners are hoping that business will do the same. Aaliyah Briggs, CBC News.
Thanks, Aaliyah. Today marked the first business day for the majority of local fisherfolk at select fish markets. They were able to resume plying their trade following April 10th closures due to the volcanic ash. Over at the Barinda Cox Market in Oistins, there were many smiles as the complex came alive once more. Some also spoke of their contribution to the reopening.
Pleased that the market is finally open. We, the fisherfolk at Oistins, worked really hard in getting it cleaned so that we can be open today for work. The boats are offloading the fish that they had to offload, and all who come to work finishing clean their boxes and re-icing to start fresh for tomorrow.
I start the cleanup ball. Once it start, everybody come put in a hand. 3 generators had to get a team, and that we do, perform a team. Once one boy start, once it start, everybody follow. So the always today, you know, Marshals able to come and get their money for their pocket and get the boats offload so we get some fish to work.
To see everybody back at work, it's a nice, you really ran stop the little dash from blowing boat, so everything is okay now in the market for now.
We are very happy to be back in the market, you know, and trying to get our fish sell and the fish come off the boats and everything like that. And like the boats, you know, can offload this morning.
Live reports from St. Vincent on the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano.
Brought to you with the compliments of Solar Dynamics, Corporators General Insurance and Crumbs Bakery.
Well, the cleanup has started in several communities close to the La Soufrière volcano. Our Sharika Griffith is on the ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and joins us live. Good evening, Sharika. Bring us up to speed.
Good evening to you, Shane. Well, the journey into the red zone on the north leeward side of the island yesterday was quite a lengthy one. Along the way, I had an opportunity to stop and speak with several of the residents as they attempted to clean up the asphalt around their homes.
With ash covering just about every plant, roof and street, some residents have started the mammoth task of cleaning up. The community of Spring Village is one such place. Even though it's in the yellow zone and residents were not ordered to evacuate, they're now dealing with ash as far as the eyes can see. These residents have been showing the true meaning of community spirit.
What made you decide to come out?
Well, community spirit and effort. The boys, everybody rhyming together. Like we block then, our block, so boys on the block get together.
We are start from where we call Mangaro. I try to reach as far as down to the end of the community.
Do you think this is a one-day job?
If it is a one-day job, we're trying to make it be, but I ensure, because it's very hard.
But passing vehicles have been hindering their progress.
Try to put some bump that they must slow down, because when the vehicle them come in, they're speeding. When they say, why speed, some people go tell her to stay down here, to tell her. And they're speeding, going, speeding, coming, they ain't care about us.
On a typical weekend here in this northern community of Chateau Bel-Air, residents would be preparing for their usual block party. However, the streets now look like a ghost town, as many residents have fled their homes, which are covered in ash.
In this village by the sea, we met Giles Francois, who initially thought he could ride out the eruptions with his ailing brother, but evacuated after running out of water. He returns regularly by boat.
I come back here every other day, visit down here, trying to clean up as much as possible, because if the people do not return, some of the people ain't come back to clean off the asphalt, it could create a havoc for us anytime we have a good rainfall. So it is important, as well as we stay out, we come in from time to time.
Leonard Collis has a different concern. While his house remains intact, his nearby bar was targeted by looters.
My business place up there, nothing in it. It's gone. Take everything out of it. So I just don't know what to do now.
What sort of things did they take?
Well, they take everything. Take my bedspread, my matches, my TV, everything. Take out. All the drinks, they joke it out. So I don't have anything in shit right now. Just the empty hull of hull to hull.
MP for the area, Carlos James, says he's ready to begin the cleanup, but will be guided by the science.
And Jane, tens of thousands of Vincentians have been displaced by the eruption at La Soufrière. My colleague Crystal Hoyt is on the ground with me, and she takes a closer look at the situations in the shelters here.
Over 16,000 people have been evacuated from the red zone area here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I've spoken to a number of them about their experience here at the Lodge Village Government School since the volcano erupted amidst a COVID-19 outbreak in the island.
This is not a shelter to me anymore. This is my home, because down there it's terrible. I am not comfortable going back down. I will not be comfortable back down there.
Alan Williams lived in close proximity to the La Soufrière volcano and had to flee the red zone area.
Under its nose, right under. We live in Fitzroy, but Fitzroy's Richmond. You could be sleeping and you have to get up and run out.
And even though he and his family are now safe, he has some major concerns.
I'm very concerned about the COVID-19 because I notice there's an increase, especially in the shelters. So I just want to encourage people to wear their masks and stay protected.
Brentford Bracken, another evacuee, says the conditions within the shelter exceed his expectations.
The first day was that you get just a little bit of food, but we satisfied. But the another day,
food grow and grow. Food is endless here right now, and clothing, everything good.
He notes that there are still people in the red zone area, and according to him, this is why.
Probably burglarize people place, but at the same time, if you're thinking about burglarize people place, you have to think about your own safety too and your own health, because now, for instance, like if you walk in Europe to extreme tomorrow, then they're going to say, they're going to call for help for evacuate, people and whatever, and then the Coast Guard go be say, try the best to even if they give the evacuation order, the Coast Guard might try the best to go down there and help them. At the same time now, you're putting people's life at risk when you do that.
Shelter manager Jolene Lavia reveals that over 150 persons are currently being housed there and need basic necessities.
Well, they always need drinking water because of the ash. The water in the pipes have been affected, so they always need drinking water. They do need clothes because they change their clothes regularly, deodorants, toiletries and stuff like that for their personal sleep. When their cots and more mattresses, pillows, to make them as comfortable as possible, because we don't know how long that they will be here for.
Reporting from Kingstown in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Now, as of today, the National Emergency Management Organization says 6,208 people are currently being housed in 85 public shelters across the island, and 6,507 are in private shelters. That's a total of 12,775 people. And just to give you the latest, the La Soufrière volcano has not erupted since yesterday at around 4:49 in the evening. It was actually a bright and sunny day here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we're certainly hoping for more days like this. Shane?
Okay, thanks a lot, Sharika. You and Crystal stay safe down there. Lead geologist monitoring La Soufrière, Professor Richard Robertson, says the gaps between explosive events at the volcano have been increasing. However, in giving an update this morning, he says yesterday's explosion is an indication that no one should become complacent despite the occasional lulls in major activity.
But we're clearly into a period where you have breaks of different lengths. When I say breaks in which it appears not very much is happening physically at the volcano. It's still shaking a lot, that's why we have the earthquakes. But then these breaks, after these breaks, you tend to have an explosive event. These explosions so far have not been as vigorous as when the eruption started. They still create eruption plumes. They still have tremendous potential to produce pyroclastic flows on the volcano itself. And because of the eruption plumes, they have the potential to put a lot of ash into areas which are occupied. Fortunately, the last set of them have actually gone towards the west, so that both Barbados and St. Vincent and Grenadines have not really had that much ash, if any.
Live reports from St. Vincent on the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano.
Brought to you with the compliments of Solar Dynamics, Corporators General Insurance, and Crumbs Bakery.
The collection of bagged volcanic ash deposits will start this Wednesday. Public Relations Officer with the Sanitation Service Authority, Carl Padmore, provided the update as he outlined the newly created schedule for the exercise.
This is the ash collection schedule starting April the 21st. Last Wednesday, and we'll be going into the parishes of St. Lucie and St. Peter. On the 22nd, St. Philip and Christchurch. The 23rd, St. John, St. George. The 26th, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. The 27th, St. James and St. Joseph. And on the 28th, we are going to the parish of St. Michael. And just some useful tips for you. Please ensure that the ash is bagged in either a feed bag, a sand bag, a crocus bag. Make sure that it doesn't go past, like, let's say 10 to 12 pounds. Have it neatly stacked close to but not commingled with your household waste.
The process will be a joint effort between the Sanitation Service Authority, the National Conservation Commission, and the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance. And the SSA PRO is reminding homeowners to utilize the hotline to arrange for the ash to be removed from their properties.
We are doing this like this, parish by parish, so that we can have better control of it. There's a schedule. We give you more time to prepare yourself as well. The hotline numbers 262-5326, 262-5327.
Coming up next, fake WhatsApp broadcast sends scores of Barbadians to vaccination centers.
My name is Smarty. Let me show you.
Fake notices circulating on WhatsApp are sending scores of Barbadians to vaccination centers across the island with hopes of receiving a COVID-19 vaccine. Yesterday, a long line was seen spilling out of the compound of the Randall Phillips Polyclinic in Christchurch, reaching as far as the nearby Oystons bus depot. Coordinator of the National Vaccination Program, Major David Clark, says this was a result of rumors being circulated on WhatsApp. He says these malicious messages are encouraging people to show up to various vaccination sites without appointments.
Also created messages sending people to other sites today, and it's very interesting because sites which I had recce but had not decided to actually do vaccination, and people showed up at those sites, and we didn't approve any of those sites for vaccination. So there are people who turn up at some places today where we're not doing vaccinations today. Just wait until your appointment time comes, and when we open our new appointment system, go in and register for an appointment.
Major Clark also indicated that the vaccination campaign began administering second doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine today. As such, he is urging Barbadians to wait their turn.
Everybody will receive an appointment out of our system for their second dose. And so we will be running second doses starting today, and there are a number of sites. So just wait until your appointment comes so we don't overload the system.
3 new positive cases of COVID-19 were recorded yesterday. The 2 males and 1 female were identified from among the 288 tests carried out by the Best of Santos Public Health Laboratory. Additionally, 16 people were discharged, while 86 persons remain in isolation. The overall number of confirmed cases has moved to 3,784, broken down into 1,840 females and 1,944 males. A total of 148,929 tests have been conducted, and to date 70,758 persons have been vaccinated. I need help. That was the cry from Drusilla Williams, who lost her house, all her belongings to a fire of unknown origin at Black Rock, St. George this afternoon. The senior citizen, who has been living in the district for over 70 years, said she lives in the house with 2 sons but was not at home at the time of the fire.
That is gone away. Everything gone.
The 82-year-old Ms. Williams, who was consoled by family members and neighbors, told CBC News she would be staying with her daughter tonight.
I live in here from, I think 82. I live in here from a little girl about 7 years.
What are some of the memories that you have from living in this area?
It's all right, the area.
Fire officers can now carry out their duties in a cleaner environment as they launched an extensive cleaning exercise across all stations today. While some internal cleaning remains to be completed, the Chief Fire Officer, Errol Maynard, says today's exercise was successful.
We specifically took today to ensure that the fire officers have a clean place to work. So today we washed all the roofs and the yards and tomorrow the industrial cleaners will come in and clean the inside of the stations. We have touched all of the stations today. It's just a few little outside things that we have to complete tomorrow, but it was a successful day for us.
Still to come, students return to the classroom in St. Lucia. Then we have sports a bit later on. But before we get to all of that, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Avoid contact with ash as much as you can. Keep your skin covered to avoid irritation from contact with ash. This message brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance, encouraging you to stay safe and be protected.
Checking in with our regional neighbors now. Students in St. Lucia returned to the classroom today. Ministry of Health officials have sought to ease the anxiety of parents with the implementation of a number of measures to safeguard the health of students, teachers and staff. More in this HTS News Force report.
The ministry said that, quote, of paramount importance are the health and safety of students and staff and support staff, unquote. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar George points to the successful track record of other sectors that have opened their doors as testament of the move to reopen schools.
In St. Lucia, children under 18 years make up to 9% of cases to date. Generally, this age group presents with mild or asymptomatic disease. There have been no deaths to COVID-19 in this age group in country. Current evidence suggests that children are less likely than adults to be transmitters of the disease, and child-to-child transmission is uncommon at schools. Schools have not been associated with significant increases in community transmission.
Dr. Belmar George says many deliberations were held to ensure the health and safety of students and faculty.
The following have been recommended: the psychosocial support when needed to address fear and anxiety, medical support provided through the support of the community wellness centers, the availability of safe, effective vaccines to all staff of the educational sector, ensuring school-related measures are integrated and support measures implemented at the community level, the provision of accurate, updated information to staff and parents to counter misinformation, the training and sensitization of all staff members, and the management of stigma and discrimination at schools, the full usage of the education sector continuity plan at every school, which clearly highlights all of the protocols and algorithms in managing any issues at the various schools.
Some institutions will adopt the whole school approach based on physical infrastructure and population. However, 34 schools will operate using the alternate day system.
In Guyana, while a lithium businessman charged with smuggling liquor is being prepared for court, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit is questioning a member of its ranks who assaulted the same businessman with his high-powered rifle.
A video circulating on social media is raising some questions and concerns within the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and the Ministry of Home Affairs at large. The video shows a Kanu rank assaulting a businessman with a high-powered weapon. Nightly News understands that the businessman, Lyndon Franklin, was reportedly detained in the compound of the Guyana Revenue Authority's office in Lethem, Region 9, after GRA and Kanu had caught the businessman with smuggled liquor in his home at Tapatinga, Lethem.
Get his face properly. He shoot up in my yard. This one here. Move from in front. Move.
The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit in a press release said that the unit is reviewing the need for further training of ranks. Kanu said it was the businessman who had released his dogs to attack ranks during the operation, forcing the rank to discharge a round to fend off the dogs. According to Kanu, a joint operation with the Guyana Revenue Authority was conducted Thursday at Lethem, and Lyndon Franklin was arrested for allegedly smuggling goods from Brazil into Guyana. The release said that 30 cases of Blackstone whiskey, 9 cases of other whiskey and 4 cases of vodka were found in the man's lorry after he was intercepted. He's expected to be charged and placed before the Lethem Magistrates Court for breaches of the Customs Act. Kanu says it is imploring civilians to desist from advancing to or attacking its officials in any way whilst they are executing their duties.
Sports is next with Mark Seal.
CBC Sports Night is sponsored by Insure Max Protein. Take your routine to the max with Insure Max Protein.
Sports time now, and we head over to the sports studio and say good evening to Mark Seal. Mark, what's your big story?
Well, we're going with the IPL, where the point stands just keep on changing match by match. This time around, Dwayne Bravo and his Shaddai Super Kings have moved into second spot of the IPL after today's lopsided victory over Rajasthan Royals. CSK were sent into bat by Royals, and in their 20 overs, they made 188 for 9. Bravo smashed 20 not out of just 8 deliveries with 2 4s and a 6, while the top scorer came from Faf du Plessis with 33. Royals in reply were way off the asking rate, ending on 143 for 9. Player of the match, Moeen Ali, had the impressive figures of 3 for 7 from just 3 overs, as CSK won by 45 runs.
But he goes after it. Probably judge the pace very early. Right in the air, this surely should be taken.
Here he goes again. He's got all of that, I'm pretty sure. Goes again. He hasn't got hold of it though. In fact, there is a man right there.
But Fielder's there. Fielder's there. Oh, he's timed that fine. Beautiful strike. And with shots like that, it'll come in handy. Now straight back past the bowler.
Straight into the hands of Chris Morris.
No timing, no timing. The catch is taken. How good a shot is that? Lovely Yorker. First up. Right, can they sneak a second in? No, confusion. Confusion. Surely he's gone. Now what, Bravo? This is... Oh, he's run. Shardul Thakur's run. And Bravo is saying, excuse me, but what are you doing here? Now Bravo's connected. He's connected well. What a fantastic finish. This is quite a finish from Dwayne Bravo. 20 of 8. And I think you've got to say this is now a really good total, 188. Okay, he's got hold of that one all right.
Well, and that's what he can do as well. Doesn't get hold of it, Bravo is going to be able to say, Bravo! Worth the shout. Certainly worth the shout. And so does Paragi, muscles it. But he muscles it straight to the fielder in the deep, the longer boundary. Morris has done the same thing. Oh dear.
Could be gone. Nope. No chance for Gautam this time. Safely held. Everywhere man, the everywhere man. A resounding victory for Mahendra Singh Dhoni and CSK.
CSK are on 4 points with a 2-1 record. That's 2 points behind the unbeaten Royal Challengers Bangalore. On out of motor racing, where Barbados' Formula 3 race car driver Zane Maloney has his first podium finish for 2021. It came in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine over the weekend. Now, this is a multi-event Formula 3 open-wheel single-seater motor racing championship, which is held across Europe. The season commenced on Saturday at the Imola circuit in Italy, where Maloney had to retire in the first race. However, he rebounded yesterday to finish third, that should be, on day number 2. Maloney now has 15 points and is 7th overall after that first round.
The weekend was up and down, but generally very, very positive. And we started off with 2 practice sessions, which we were always quick in as a team, and then qualifying, we qualified 4th on the first qualifying and 10th on the second qualifying out of 33 drivers. So not so good second qualifying, but really good first qualifying. And we went into race 1, and these clutches are very, very delicate, and I kind of preloaded the clutch a little bit at the start and burnt the clutch, so I didn't make it into turn 1. Very unfortunate. So we had a DNF in race 1 to start off the season, not so good, and then race 2 on Sunday we bounced back and finished on the podium. So we finished third on Sunday, which was very good. To start off the season with the podium already is amazing, and the team did a great job. Our race GP did an amazing job all weekend. We were always quick on pace and up the front, fighting for podiums, which is always really positive to start off the season.
Well, round 2 is in Barcelona, Spain, and that'll be on May 8th and 9th. Shane, I'll come back a bit later. I'll have some news of that Super Football League in Europe that's causing up all the stir.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that story. Well, up next on CBC's NewsNight is the business report.
CBC Sports Night is sponsored by Insure Max Protein. Take your routine to the max with Insure Max Protein.
The Business Report brought to you with the compliments of CIBC First Caribbean. Banking that fits your life.
Hardware stores in Barbados are in a restocking mode after heavy demands for tools and industrial equipment of varying kinds brought on by the eruption of La Soufrière. At Koiman, marketing manager Marty Vandermaas says they are trying to cope with the demand.
It's been very, very busy here in the store, especially on the first day, on the Monday, when the government allowed us to open from 9 to 2. We had an enormous amount of people coming through the store to mainly buy cleaning equipment. So pressure washers, brooms, buckets, hoses, those kind of items. And at the end of the day, we were a bit in a daze because it's been so busy with people coming to the store.
At Ace H&B store manager Michael Cummins told the Business Report they're under pressure clearing goods from the Bridgetown port.
Right now, as it stands, as I told you before, in a week's time we would got the shelves replenished because I think so many containers were clear to come up today. So within a week's time we should be good.
Manager at Carter's General Stores, Alan Goodman, says only the hurricane season can compare with what is happening at the store since the start of the ash fall, but they are restocking as they go along.
We did have the salt, but we are running low. We're out of hoses, pressure washers. We do still have mops, brooms. The popular 24-inch yard brooms we are out of at the moment as well. But we're hoping to get some stock very soon from outside.
Tourism activity in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is now virtually non-existent. This admission from Tourism Minister Carlos James, who notes COVID-19 caused a downturn in the sector even before the explosive eruptions of La Soufrière. The eruptions have resulted in a closure of the country's airspace, and the only vessels arriving by sea are bringing relief supplies and aid. But Minister James believes the international exposure caused by the volcano could eventually become a positive.
Right now they're talking about St. Vincent as in relation to the volcano, but I'm quite certain that there are persons saying, well, this is a place I've never visited. This is somewhere I want to experience. There's a volcano I'd like to see, and immediately we're looking to see how we can reboot the tourism industry and get all the support mechanisms in place so that we can continue to boost the economy despite the challenges we're experiencing.
Time now to take a look at how stocks traded on selected exchanges across the region.
In Jamaica, Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited was the volume leader with 3,489,714 units, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares and Caribbean Cement Company Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Trinidad Cement Limited was the volume leader with 150,000 shares changing hands for a value of $448,500, followed by National Flour Mills Limited with a volume of 100,000 shares being traded at $225,003.36. And here in Barbados, there was no activity today.
The world's first full-scale tunnel is taking shape. It's the answer to an age-old problem, and in the CNN report, we find out that the tunnel, which will be big enough to accommodate cruise ships of up to 16,000 tons and bring a 2-hour trip down to 12 minutes. Called the Stad Tunnel, it will be a 1-mile coastal highway and is part of the project of the Norway project, which has a price tag of US $300 million. Work will start next year.
It's an extreme challenge that's always required a pretty extreme solution. While the Vikings are thought to have managed by physically dragging their boats over the land, it's now possible to go through it, bringing a 2-hour trip down to about 12 minutes. Although contractors are yet to be appointed, the plan is for the upper section to be excavated first in a similar way to conventional road tunnelling, with underground drilling and pallet rigs. There's plenty of expertise for this in the area. Norway's home to over 1,000 road tunnels across the country. Construction's likely to start at opposite ends of the peninsula, creating 2 tunnels that join in the middle. The roof will then have to be reinforced with concrete for stability before service routes are added in, allowing excavated material to be carried out. Works will then gradually move downwards layer by layer. To dig out the tunnel floor, temporary barriers or cofferdams will need to be placed at each end of the terrace stone entrances, designed by Snehetta. These will keep the water out and allow the excavation below sea level to take place. When the work's fully finished and all the services like lighting are installed and working, the tunnel can be slowly flooded before the cofferdams are cleared away.
That's Business Weather News is next.
The Business Report brought to you with the compliments of CIBC First Caribbean. Banking that fits your life. The CBC NewsNight weather is brought to you by Trident Insurance. We treat you like family.
Weather news now, we say good evening to Selma Green.
Good evening to you, Shane. And of course, La Soufrière continues to be in our focus. That volcano remains active today. St. Vincent continues to be on red alert. Visibility there fluctuates because of the volcanic ash that's on the ground. And for us here in Barbados, well, bulletins could be issued at short notice because of the ash plumes coming into our area, and we're going to be urging you to continue to listen to official communication channels for any updates on the system. Whilst La Soufrière has changed our whole landscape, one thing remains constant, and that's the Atlantic high pressure system. It remains dominant, and with that system around, the atmosphere is very dry and stable. So we had fair weather conditions today, and it was warm. Our maximum temperature 30 degrees Celsius. Overnight the temperature dipped to 24 degrees, and right now the temperature is hovering around 26 degrees. Still pretty dry and stable, and the winds are moderate and flowing in from the east. And it's warm across the region, more so across the southern islands, Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago. And our relative humidity bears out that it's pretty dry and stable at the lower levels right now. As we can see, 62% in terms of the relative humidity in the area of Dominica, and we're continuing to see strong winds over St. Lucia and Grenada. They had gusty weather winds throughout today, and it continues to be breezy tonight. Well, there's the Atlantic high, the cloud patches associated with that high drifting in and out of the island chain, not generating any significant showers. It's breezy still tonight, and we don't expect any significant rainfall throughout tonight or into tomorrow. For us here in Barbados, we're expecting brief showers. Skies will be partly cloudy throughout the night. And it was also fair from Trinidad and Tobago all the way through the Guyanas. On the interior tonight, though, we're seeing some showers developing over French Guyana as well as Suriname. We don't expect that situation to change. And it was fair from Puerto Rico all the way through to Jamaica, the eastern section of Cuba, as well as southern Bahamas. But there's a frontal system that's now generating showers over the northern Bahamas. Some confluence much generating instability and showers over the western portion of Cuba, and those showers will continue over northern Bahamas and Cuba. It will continue to be generally fair across the west of the Western Caribbean. Sunrise for us tomorrow will be at 17 to 6 and the sun will set at 12 past 6. Our first daytime high tide is going to be at 25 after 7 and the first daytime low 13 minutes after 3. Seas will be moderate in open water. We're expecting normal sea swells peaking at around 2.5 meters. The winds will flow in from the east-northeast to the east at 30 to 35 kilometers per hour. And tonight, as I said, partly cloudy with just brief showers. And over the next 3 days, we're expecting lots of sunshine. We'll see a few clouds here and there. No significant showers anticipated, and the days will be warm. We leave you now with a final look at forecast weather conditions for the region and then for our selected international cities.
We're going to head back on over to the sports studio now and welcome back. Mark, what do you have for us in the second half?
Well, that controversial football story a bit later, but first up, I'll tell you about the work that is well underway at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex as the management of that facility tries to rid the environs of ashfall resulting from the volcanic eruptions in St. Vincent. The St. Michael venue was supposed to stage this weekend's or last weekend's Athletics Association of Barbados track and field meet on Saturday and Sunday, but that was postponed with a new date to be announced once the cleanup is complete. Head of the Academy of Sport at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Rudolph Allen, says by early next week they should be in a better position.
Because of our surfaces here, we have our artificial football field, and we also have IWF approved track. We had to do a bit of investigation in terms of how would you clean the facility because of the ash. Interestingly, for instance, our football field, we thought we could power wash that, but we were told no, so that has to be vacuumed. And as far as the track is concerned, we are going to vacuum that first initially, and then give it a power washing to get the ash off the surface. So we're working on having that done as a matter of urgency. And then, of course, the stands and so on will be cleaned to the requirements as set out by the university and by the government. So we are on it. Yes, we may require some additional manpower, but we're working along with the university administration to have that done.
Dr. Allen also says from a health and safety standpoint, protocols are in place to deal with the expected increase in demand for the use of that facility.
We're following the national protocols as set out, and we have our own internal protocols when we opened back last year. as a university, and then we followed the protocol set up by each of the individual sporting federations and associations too as well. So we have fairly tight protocols in terms of anyone using the facility. To be honest, we were looking forward to last term as a bumper term in terms of the use of the Usain Bolt complex, but that didn't work out. We're moving forward in a what I may say a partnership with the AAB in terms of hosting their events here, as the stadium is unavailable. But in terms of not having spectators, I think there's a plan to deal with that. I think some of the events may be streamed, so we will still have some sort of an audience, be it not a physical face-to-face audience here. So the AAB, they have plans on how they're going to deal with that.
A dozen of the world's richest and most storied football clubs announced yesterday that they had formed a breakaway European club competition that would put the league in direct competition with the existing Champions League. However, UEFA is threatening to ban the teams and players who joined that new tournament.
12 clubs from across Europe, including Real Madrid and Manchester United, have reportedly signed up to this new format, with an announcement thought to be imminent. This new league would rival the Champions League, and it's understood around $5 billion has been committed to the project by the American bank JP Morgan. Liverpool, Barcelona, Juventus and Arsenal are some of the other teams who've allegedly agreed to be involved. But UEFA released a joint statement with a number of European leagues threatening sanctions. FIFA and all our member associations will remain united in our efforts to stop this cynical project, a project that is founded on the self-interest of a few clubs at a time when society needs solidarity. The clubs concerned will be banned from playing in any other competition at domestic, European or world level, and their players could be denied the opportunity to represent their national teams. AP's global sports correspondent Rob Harris says a Super League proposal puts some of the biggest clubs in Europe on a collision course with the sports administrators.
What we're seeing is some of the elite clubs in European football trying to rip up the system and go it out alone with the launch of a Super League. They want control not only of the competition, but the finances and also the access to just who competes in a potential Super League. They want to leave the Champions League, as we've known for so many years, and run things their own way. But we've had the threats from UEFA of legal action if the elite clubs try to go it alone. You've got Manchester United, owned by the Glazers, Liverpool, owned by John Henry and the Boston Red Sox. They're in direct conflict now with the leagues that they're part of as they try to launch their own breakaway Super League, something mooted for so many years, often put on the table just at the time when clubs are often trying to get more of a say and more money from something like the Champions League. But I don't think we've ever come as close now as it all coming to a head.
And that's it for sports. Shane, I can tell you that story is not over yet.
Yeah, I can feel it's going to be going on for quite a while. Yeah. Well, international news is just ahead.
Minding your business with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, who remind you that you are better with us.
On this edition of Minding Your Business, it's time for some hard work as we go on an adventure with Dave Supercuts. While trees are beautiful and important for providing food, shelter, and shade, there are times when they may become a threat to life and limb if they are not cared for and if their growth isn't monitored. And that's where Dave Lovell's company, Dave Supercuts, comes in. Dave says he actually grew up in the business since his father also had a tree trimming business back in the 80s. But in the years that followed, he started doing work with a company called Easy Haul Trimming, where he sharpened his skills and eventually went on to open his own business at Upper Q Road Bank Hall, St. Michael, which is now 19 years old.
I actually got my first major job working with Elegant Hotels at Tamarind. Cove Hotel at the time it was called, no Tamarind Hotel. And that was actually, I was trimming, cutting down a coconut tree that actually bent over the pool. And there were two female tourists that was observing what was going on. So we technically used something called a false scratch, which is actually wrapped around the actual trunk of the tree. And it has a pulley. So you run the rope through the pulley and you tear off the head. So what we know as tree trimming, or arborists as professionally called, what happens then when we cut the actual head and it pulls over, it causes the tree to shake violently. So when that actually occurred and the female tourist saw what happened, and it was almost like on a rodeo bull, she started running up and down, screaming, I have to be crazy, I have to be Spider-Man or Superman. There you have the name, Dave Supercuts.
And his clientele grew from there. With a total team of 9 workers now, he says safety has continued to be his watchword, and knowledge is important both for him and property owners.
Trees, just like how we go to the barber to have a nice trim up and shave up every now and then, trees need a similar thing. They need pruning. When persons have trees in the area for a very long time, especially fruit trees, they eventually use up all of the minerals and nutrients in the soil. It's good to put back. That keeps the tree flourishing nicely. You need to prune the dead wood from the trees from time to time. Otherwise, those diseased part of the trees then acts like gangrene and then contaminates the rest of the tree. Like for instance, there's the avocado tree. The termites love that tree. And they actually undermine the tree from the root. They eat the inside out into a hollow. But the tree still produces prolifically and beautiful, yeah. What happens then when you wait to the avocados, then you find that branches start to break off, and then the tree eventually dwindles away.
Now, on the day we caught up with Dave and his team, he was doing a tough day-long job to trim some mahogany trees that were creating severe problems for a homeowner, who also had concerns about the damage that falling limbs would cause in a storm. The process was tedious because it involved the climber way up in the tree in his harness, cutting individual large branches, and then the guys on the ground safely controlling the fall of the limbs with rope. When they reached the ground, more team members then cut the limbs into smaller pieces before loading them onto the waiting trucks. So when I got started helping out the team, the first thing I realized is that even small cuts of mahogany are heavy, really heavy. So it was a good switch to eventually be able to give my muscles a little rest and get my hands on the chainsaw, with some safety guidance beforehand, of course. It also showed again just how important safety is to Dave and his team. He says every rope, harness, and piece of safety equipment is checked before they go on a job site, and if any of the ropes or harnesses have even the slightest defect, they're replaced. Dave says that's why some property owners must be careful not to disadvantage themselves sometimes.
They may get a cheaper price than the professional cost, obviously, but then persons are not insured. And then they come on your property, they get injured, and then you are liable. And that's a serious thing. So we know as the professional arborists or the tree trimmers, we have public liability and employee liability. So anything that happens on the job, any damage to your property is covered, or any damage to any of my staff is also covered.
But there's actually another aspect of their work that Dave says is a key part of what they do.
It's not only about cutting the trees and making it clean up. Persons may come to do a job and then the area, you're not supposed to know that I was there unless you look up at the trees. So the ground is supposed to be clean when done. We rake, we blow, we take up everything. What was there, not there before we got there, is not going to be there after we're finished.
Meanwhile, Dave says estimates for property owners are actually free of cost, and they do not consider anywhere in Barbados too far to travel to do estimates. Now, if you'd like to get in contact with Dave Lovell and Dave Supercuts, just give him a call at 238-0386, 429-4471, or email Dave Supercuts at hotmail.com, or check out his Facebook and Instagram pages. So that's it for this edition of Minding Your Business. I've told Dave that the next time I come, though, I want to be the one in the tree instead of the one lifting the logs. Do have a good night.
minding your business, with the kind compliments of the Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union Limited, who remind you that you are better with us.
That's our news. Good night and be good.